But let me begin here because, of course, the Paris attacks. The CIA director says more attacks are likely in the pipeline. There were to be seen today lots of ISIS guys on CNN saying, Europe, we got you and we're going to get you again, and America, you're next. American blood, they say is the best. American blood. Our intelligence agencies are strained. And when they say that, they really mean it. If our intel agencies, if the NSA is strained to keep up with everybody who's here or might be here or has bad plans, then we're in big trouble. Lots of raids in France associated with, and Belgium, associated with a bunch of arrests. They arrested a whole group of even suspected people. So we know the Paris area was shocked by a major terrorist attack Friday night that's being claimed by the neo-caliphate, I like that phrase, terrorist group ISIS. But just hours before the attack was carried out, Facebook removed a key anonymous group responsible for identifying and reporting thousands of social media accounts used by ISIS recruiters. Now let's think about that. Anonymous on our side in the sense that they're exposing groups planning to attack us, right? Now, regardless of what you think about ISIS, their origins, and who is pulling the strings and funding them, one thing is clear. They've been spreading their ideology and recruiting using Facebook and Twitter more than on-the-ground traditional methods. We talked about this last week. The anonymous group Red Cult initiated an operation to counter the ISIS social media presence called hashtag OpISIS, Operation ISIS, in other words. We at Counter Current News, that's where this story came from, have been the primary contact point for OpISIS from the start, and we continue to be today. That's why our source in the Red Cult told us today that a group calling itself Report ISIS Accounts run by Anonymous was removed by Facebook, and the administrators from the group all banned. The anonymous group Red Cult initiated an operation to counter the ISIS social media presence called, again, OpISIS, and you've got to ask why. Why keep Anonymous from doing the job that American and European law enforcement either are unable to do or overstrained or unwilling to do? Exposing accounts used by ISIS to operate and recruit on social media. Facebook has refused to respond to inquiries from Red Cult or from Countercurrent News and several other alternative media outlets who have contacted them directly. Now, Facebook, as you know, has its own terms of service agreement. What I want you to hear is a message that I have on my Facebook. If you can take looking at this masked ISIS face, and I want to play this for you here on the air. The only thing you're missing is video. If you go to my website, you're not going to miss that. It's up there for you right now. But here's what they are saying. This is kind of a ISIS sort of introduction right now, which is worth watching, by the way. The video you're listening to, available on my website. This is, of course, from our friends at Anonymous.
Greetings, citizen of the world, and Facebook. We are Anonymous Red Cult. As most of you know, we're engaged in Operation ISIS from some time now, to fight ISIS online in different ways, like taking down ISIS sites, leaking information, exposing ISIS accounts on social media sites. One of our groups on Facebook called Report ISIS Accounts, with the URL www.facebook.com/groups/opisis, and it's dedicated to post and report ISIS accounts from YouTube, Twitter, Facebook and other social media sites, where we reported and deactivated thousands of accounts they used to communicate, recruit, and spread ISIS propaganda. Few hours ago, Facebook decided to close this group and block the admins for 3 days, without giving any explanation for it, except, quote, "We removed the post below because it doesn't follow the Facebook community standards," end of quote. So we asked, is it because ISIS supporters reported us back? And if so, for what reason? Or Facebook is bothered from us reporting terrorists' accounts that violate Facebook community standards anyway, by using fake names and posting inappropriate and violent propaganda that only serve ISIS terrorism. We asked, is this one of the new Facebook policies to protect terrorists' accounts instead of fighting it? Or simply Facebook doesn't care? We leave this for the public opinion to judge this action by Facebook, action that can only be interpreted that Facebook took a wrong decision. Anyway, we will continue our fight on ISIS. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
So, yeah, there's the audio, and that if that's not enough, trust me, you need to see the video. It's on my website, artbell.com now. As you know, some weeks ago, months ago, was it now? I believe, I solicited Anonymous so that I could speak to Anonymous. Well, what I got was the doctor. Now, the doctor is... This is very difficult. The doctor is... Doctor, what are you? What would you prefer to be called?
You may as well use my handle. Call me the doctor.
Okay, the doctor. All right, good. All right, so you heard that, and I'm sure that's not the first time you heard it. It would seem on the face of it that Facebook is abridging the First Amendment right of Anonymous to do what? To expose ISIS? and that's bad?
I do think it's problematic. I also think it's incredibly strange because from what I've observed, Anonymous in general and Red Cult in particular have had varying success with having the accounts of ISIS recruiters taken offline, but they seem to be getting hit. But Anonymous seems to periodically get its own presence knocked offline and then brought back with no explanation. The Op ISIS page being taken offline just hours before the massacre in Paris began is extremely strange.
Yes.
I did a little bit of research earlier today and discovered that not too long after the massacre was over and the carnage was being cleaned up, the Op ISIS page was mysteriously brought back online without any comment from Facebook management, or Facebook content management, I should say.
Well, fascinating. So, in other words, you don't know if they reported you for some weird thing, reported them for some weird thing, and that's why it was taken down.
It's possible. It's possible that some number of people in ISIS had reported that page and asked it to be taken down, and because Facebook is somewhat notorious for its real name policy, and by real name policy I mean if you get out of bed with your right foot on first instead of your left foot, they may freeze your account.
That's right. That's right. I'm a freezee. I've been frozen 3 times.
Yeah, so it's possible that some ISIS recruiters had a page frozen, they unfroze it. It's possible that Facebook, for whatever reason, got a hair up its nose and froze it and then unfroze it. It's possible that someone told them to temporarily suspend the Op ISIS account. I don't know. It's
a mystery.
It's a mystery. It's strange.
All right. Let me ask you this: is Anonymous getting in a position where it's going to virtually be at war with ISIS?
Yes.
And that war is going to consist of taking down their sites, I would presume, with various attacks, and then the war would consist perhaps of also seeking out, finding, and making public sites where they are chattering to each other.
As well as quite possibly the identities of ISIS operatives. There's evidence that hacktivists were involved in stopping an attack in Tunisia some months ago. There's evidence that hacktivists were involved in stopping a plot in New York some months ago.
Well, then, why in heaven's name doesn't our government, through some back door, allow information to be shared with them? Is there any of that going on, or can you not comment?
I have no idea. My thought is that is not the case, simply because governments tend to not like working with fifth columns, and Anonymous is sort of the ultimate fifth column.
So would you imagine that my Facebook account, which I do enjoy, is now in some jeopardy, or do you think it'll remain up there?
I don't think it's in any jeopardy. At least not immediately, unless someone decides that they're not an Art Bell fan and decides to hit that little report button.
Yeah. Well, I have been signed, sealed, delivered with I believe I had to send a picture ID, and I had to send my driver's license. So they should know who I am, but I guess they could have temporary amnesia.
They could. Facebook's content management team is extremely large. It's spread across multiple continents, but they all have more or less equal access and authority to do what they're charged with, which is determine who is and is not allowed to use the service.
All right. Here's a question for you. Do you know if Facebook or Twitter have made any public comment about the fact that ISIS is known to use these social media as ways to communicate? Have they made any comment about it?
To the best of my knowledge, no, nobody has. Lots of other people have. Certainly lawyers have, law enforcement agencies have, government agencies have.
Okay. Well, I will depend on you for updates in the war. I would love to know how it's going. And if you have any future trouble of this kind, I sure hope you'll get hold of me first.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. That is the doctor. And he I think wants to be known just as the doctor, but he is sort of a consultant for us when it comes to matters of Anonymous.